guys, Tom by 601, and today we have our quick review of the newest destroyer to come to World of Warships Legends, FR25. I know, such an emotive name. Uh, so what's the story behind this thing? Well, it's a new Tier 6 destroyer, a new Italian Tier 6 destroyer. The idea is it is a refloated Guilleprat, the Tier 5 French destroyer, that was then given back to the Italians, and the Italians outfitted it like their navy. So what does that mean? Well, it's a Guilleprat in pretty much most of its stats, but then it has some mixture of consumables and ammo. So we have the good old Italian exhaust smoke. We have the French engine boost, and we have the Italian SAP shells replacing the AP shells. So an interesting boat, I guess you could say. I will say, after playing this for the past week, it's okay. It's mid. This is a ship that they will put in a crate, and you will be like, oh, okay, cool, I got it. That's great. That's the kind of this will be one of the crate fillers, is I have a feeling, is what FR25 will be. Fun and interesting just because of what it has, but overall, it's not my favorite. So how are we playing it? Who do we have as the commander? Well, initially I wanted to play this as a torp boat, but it just doesn't work. I tried out the commander you get for doing the weekly missions. I was like, oh, maybe this guy is finally the one that makes this boat make sense, and I tried with that one. Not really. This is actually my first game. The one that you're seeing is my first game in it because I just stuck Rizzo on, because that's what I've been running on all the other commanders. And I have to say, I think Rizzo is the way to go. If you haven't seen our build with him already, we are running Sims and Mordoff with then Observant Rage, Mortar, 1,000 Cuts, Smoke on the Water, and Unstoppable as our set of skills. That is the commander build, and here we're going to finally open up fire as we have taken the B cap. I was kind of hesitant pushing into B just because there's one other destroyer. We had to kind of figure out where he was. Once we did, there wasn't too big of a risk of kind of coming into B, and we're going to go B to A, try to get 2 caps, build our points, get the delta of point gain onto our side, and that's going to be important because you're going to see why later in this match it is kind of what gets us the victory. A little spoiler alert there. Anyways, Leningrad, our competing destroyer, does end up walking away with a kill. We have King George kind of chilling out here. And you may be saying, Tommy, why aren't you launching torpedoes? And, well, FR25 is sort of like its distant cousin, the Paolo Emilio, in the way that its torpedoes about match its detectability range, which that's not a great trait to have when you want to use the destroyers. And you may be like, oh, but then you get torpedoes that can absolutely nuke people, right? You can make this a mini YOLO Emilio, and sadly, no. You have 2 3-barreled launchers, and they have, I'm going to call, decent alpha. But the point of the Paolo is that you can rock up and just rock the socks and KO any sort of battleship, nearly with 1 rack, and maybe use the assistance of 1 more torpedo to finish it off. This boat, especially at this tier, when you're going to be fighting tier 6s, tier 7s, you don't have the alpha within your tubes to actually do enough damage if you're going up against a full health boat. Full health battleship. You just don't have the alpha strike to really put anyone down, which is the unfortunate bit. So you can't really use this like a YOLO ship. You can get some pretty devastating hits, but you're probably not going to finish someone off. Okay, so we've got an A, and now we can pretty much guess where the other destroyer is, and well, we need to make sure he's not successful at that. So we're going to turn our nose towards B and start heading that way. Check to see what we are like on our torpedo reload. We've seen already Leningrad prepared to use his torpedoes as he used those to take out Colorado. But, hopefully he has a little bit of damage to him. We pop our engine boost, and, well, we're going to go ahead and use that. And we can kind of see top speed of the vessel here as we climb well above 40 knots, which, hey, that's always nice, especially with the long duration. That is something that is different from the Italian lines. If you recall, the Italian lines, they have a higher percentage engine boost, but it is a very, very short engine boost. And I'll be honest, I think I prefer the Italian ones. Like, this is nice, cruising at 43 knots. This is nice. But the fun of the Italian boats with their super short engine boost, that's been making me incredibly happy as of late. Anyways, we finally get in here, and unfortunately Langrad was able to flip the cap, but we are now going to engage him, and you're going to see what we can do in a 1v1 destroyer match, you know, where SAP is pretty much king, and you're going to see we do pretty well. There's one thing I want to talk about, it's the guns. They don't feel, we're hitting our shots here, but I have been finding that I just don't feel like the guns are the most accurate. They, especially once you get into the medium ranges, which generally the French boats tend to be a little bit more accurate, it just doesn't feel very right. We're gonna go ahead and reverse our direction here, try to drop spot, make sure we don't get hit by anything. But the guns just don't feel as accurate as they should be. I want to say it's just something about them that it kind of bugs me, especially when you have to rely on them so much. You know, you have that 5-second reload. You saw what it took us there. Like, we hit most of our shots there against that Langrad. Could we have been maybe a little bit more maneuverable? Yes, but you kind of have to give broadside in this boat in order to get all of your guns on target to get that DPM. Langrad, not like a terrible gunboat, but he's not the king of the gunboats, and he still took half our health in order to do that. And you kind of have to build into the guns. So you see kind of where this ship is just a bit of a meh sort of boat. It just doesn't work out the way I would personally like it. Anyways, we've kind of trying to bully the Boise there, see if we get a broadside. We can do some decent damage if he went broadside, but sadly, nothing there. We're kind of keeping the SAP loaded. The HE is pretty effective as well on these boats. It's something you have to remember is that SAP, when it hits like a truck, but you need to know when people are angled enough not to use it, and you need to kind of be prepared to flip over to the HE. Now that we have this Boise's broadside, we're going to kind of test out the rounds. You can see we get, one hit for 1,000. If we can get more to land, it's going to be pretty good, but we do need to also notice who's coming around the corner there. It's starting to get a little bit too hot for us, and we are going to go ahead and dip out behind this island here, trying to see if Sharni is within our range on those torpedoes. You kind of need the boats. Because of the short range, you need boats to push into you if you have any chance of being able to do damage. We take a pretty big hit there as finally Boise starts to connect rounds with us, and sadly we don't drop spot when we get behind because, of course, there is a carrier in this game, and he's rightfully focusing on the battleship and us. We are kind of important to get down. We're using the battleship to try and use his AA. Duke of York has a pretty good AA, so we'll especially compared to the FR25, which it feels like has none. We're going to pop our other engine boost here. Then we're going to go ahead, pop our smoke, and see if we can sort of make our YOLO run here. We need to try to get around Duke of York here. We'll use his bow to sort of pivot us, get us on the other side of him, use him to kind of help us corner that apex. Wait on Sharni to fire once again. We saw sort of where that line was that we were going to need to ditch on, and he fires at Duke of York, and we end up taking a good chunk of those hits. But he can go ahead and take a good chunk of these torpedoes right here. You can see the damage that they'll do. There goes one, and there's what 3 did. So you see sort of the damage that we're dealing with here. Like, that was a good chunk of damage, don't get me wrong, but that isn't going to be enough, especially when you start hitting torpedo belts, to really YOLO in to enemy battleships. Just isn't going to work. Thankfully for us, our friend the Ranger here has good for him playing up close, but now we get to try to wreak a little bit of havoc and try to get him wiped off the map. We know he has a citadel, and thankfully, our SAP will be able to get to his citadel. So we have found that little golden spot right there, and we are going to now just try to melt this man down before any of his teammates can respond. Of course, we have this island between us and the majority of his clumped rest of his teammates. And as a result, well, we are going to be able to knock him out. We pull up the high caliber here. Just as Boise comes around the corner, we're going to dump torpedoes, and well, we're within 4 kilometers of a light cruiser, and we don't have our smoke. So we get 2,000 off the rip there, but we're not going to be lasting as we try to start run away. Nothing there. But guys, that is the FR25. As you can see, we now have a 3v1 situation for our aircraft carrier, and well, I'll go ahead and fast forward to the end of the match, but good on him. He found a spot. He finds a spot that he likes, and well, the enemy team is not able to eliminate him by the end of the match, and we end up taking it on points. So GG's all around, guys. If you like the video, hit like button, hit subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.